Okay. Now we will discuss a little bit about the auto invoice process. How does this process works and what is this process about? Okay. Now what is auto invoice? Auto invoice is something which is used to create or import the invoices automatically in Fusion receivables. Okay, in receivables we can create import the invoices automatically. It can be from different sources. It can be from your order management. It can be project billing. It can be from service contracts. So different places can send the receivables invoices, and using auto invoices we can import those invoices in the receivables module. Okay, now what are the table names that is there for auto invoices? These are the table names that I've specified here: RA interface lines or RA interface distributions all, and RA interface sales credit all. These are the three tables that are related to auto invoice, and these are the three interface tables that you will have. First, the data will be populated in the interface tables, and if the valid lines are there, it will be imported to the receivables transaction tables. Otherwise it will go into the error lines in the error tables, and then you have to again correct it, and then you can run the auto invoice program and import those invoices again. Okay, so you can create the auto invoice. First we have to do all the setups related to auto invoice, and then we can receive the invoices from different sources. Now auto invoice setups are scattered in different places, like system options. In system options we have the setup. We saw auto invoices at the system options level also. Let me go down. Okay, so let me go down. Yeah, so this is my auto invoice setup in the system options, which we discussed briefly. So you have purge interface tables, whether you want to purge the interface tables or not. This option we already discussed. Maximum memory in bytes. So whatever the number of records that you're importing, you have to give the maximum memory. The log file level, so you have to provide the log file level and all. Then you have to create the transaction source as imported for auto invoice purpose. Okay, now we created a source called as Acme source. Okay, if you have to create it for, I cannot edit this, cancel, let me cancel it. If I say imported here, for auto invoices, we need to create this first, an imported one, imported source, and these are my auto invoice options that are available here. And if there are certain invalid lines coming, whether to reject the complete invoice or create invoice and reject only the lines which are invalid. So it can depends on your scenario what you want to select here. Accounting date in a closed period. What should system should do if the accounting date is in a closed period? Reject that particular invoice or adjust in the current open period. It will take the first day of the current open period. So if you say adjust, it will take the current period. Otherwise, it will reject that particular transaction. Then we have grouping rules. I will discuss this grouping rule, line ordering rules in a while. So you have to attach a rule called as grouping rule in this particular section, and how system will group, like there are multiple invoices coming in, there are multiple lines in those invoices coming in, how system will group those invoices together, how system will group those lines or order those lines in the invoices, because there are multiple lines coming from various sources, multiple invoices coming, how it has to be grouped together, how the lines has to be sequenced, and it depends on what rules you define and attach it here. Okay, so this you have to attach it. Then we have something called as create clearing. What is this create clearing is, if there is any mismatch between when we do the total amount, the total invoice amount or the lines amount, or when we say unit price into the quantity that you have ordered, there might be certain minute differences depending on the exchange rate or something. If there is any changing like any amount that is not exactly same as the header amount, system automatically puts that difference in the create clearing account. So if you remember, at the transaction type level, we had something called as clearing account, auto invoice clearing account. So if you say enable clearing account, system is going to use that auto invoice clearing account to put the differences in that clearing account. So you can place any difference between the revenue amount and the sales amount per transaction line in the auto invoice clearing account. Okay. So if you specify this, automatically the balancing line will be created as a auto invoice clearing account. Then in the bottom section, how does the import should happen? Like system should use for a number or a ID for importing the transactions, or a percentage or an amount or a value or a ID to import. Like what information should it read for all the things, all the fields are there, customers, accounting, miscellaneous and other things. So you can have this enabled here, whether it is a segment value or ID value. So for each of this payment terms, revenue account allocation, accounting flex field, this is for your invoicing rule. We just discussed invoicing rules, billing in advance, billing in arrears and all. So whether it is a value, fixed schedule, whether it, whatever name you have given, or it is an ID or none, you are not importing the rules at all. So all the fields, depending what you are importing and how you are importing, from what is the source, you can set up whether it will look for a value or an ID while importing or running the auto invoice. Whatever values you are passing, you can choose the appropriate value here. Auto invoice clearing account, we already discussed. If there is a mismatch in quantity into unit price and the revenue amount is different, automatically system will place the difference in the auto invoice clearing account. You can also set up certain automated refunds if there is a advance or there is an extra value. Automatically refunds will be created for the credit memos, so you can set up that. Now we have certain grouping rules. So in this section we have something called as a grouping rule. I can choose this grouping rule whatever I want. Now, but what is this grouping rule? What is the meaning and how does it works? Okay. Now grouping rule is something which helps the system to understand how to group the invoices together. Okay, so there are certain attributes which system uses to group them together. There are certain mandatory criteria plus optional criteria you can set up. Like mandatory fields can be currency, it will group together by currency. Bill to information, your customer, bill to customer, or the item information. These can be certain mandatory criterias. Okay, apart from that, you can set up certain transaction flex fields, like your any additional flex fields based on DFFs, based on other extra attributes you can select to group the invoices together. Okay, so you have certain orders which is for the same customer, different items, and this is attribute to the order type. This is a domestic order. Third is a no shipment, and then you have the international. Okay, so in this case you tell the system to group the invoices, but these are the first three are mandatory. The next two are the attribute that the optional ones. So I tell the system to group it by attribute 2. So all the both the domestic orders will be grouped together in one invoice. No shipment will be just another one invoice. International will be invoice number 3. So invoice number 1 will have 101 and 102 order together. So this is how system will understand what orders, what information, billing information should be grouped into one single invoice. So these are some of the grouping transaction attributes which are mandatory attributes. System uses this criteria to group the invoices together in one single invoice. That is your GL date, tax rate code, salesperson, accounting rule, the accounting rule we just discussed, bill to address and other things. Apart from that, you can have certain optional criteria, that is your transaction attribute. Okay. Now what is line ordering rule? Grouping rule, we understand that if we have multiple orders coming in through auto invoice, how they will be grouped together in the invoice. But line ordering rule is how the lines will be generated in the invoices. You have 100 lines. Which line will be first, which line will be second, how system will understand that. Whether it will be in ascending order, descending order, and how does the lines will be grouped. So you can choose to have like different criteria like shipment date, based on the shipment date, shipping criteria, ship via, group the invoice lines or order the lines in an ascending order. So based on certain attribute, you can tell the system to group it, like for example amount, based on the line amount, order the lines in a descending order, right? So you can create this line ordering rule and you attach the line ordering rule to grouping rule. You attach the grouping rule to the auto invoice, this particular source. Okay, you create the source and you attach the grouping rule here. You create the line ordering rule, attach it to grouping rule. Grouping rule you can attach it actually at multiple places. You can attach it at transaction source level, you can attach it at system option level, you can attach it at customer profile class level also. So there is a setup called as customer profile class. We can attach it at the customer level, we can attach it at the source level, we can attach it at the system option levels. Then how system will take the precedence? System will go and check at the source level. If it is available at the source level, it will use that grouping rule. But if it is not available at source level, it will go and check for the profile class level. If it is not even available at the profile class customer level, it will go and check at the system option level. Even if it is not available at system option, then it is going to throw an error that it is not able to group and group the invoices together and all whatever. So there are 3 levels wherein you can attach the grouping rule. Defining screen is same. In one place we define the grouping rule, but we can attach it in 3 different places: system options, transaction batch source, and profile class. And this is the order it will take the precedence. First it will go and look at the transaction source, then at the customer profile level, and then at the system options level. Okay, let me open the transaction line ordering rule here. Okay, so we have this auto invoice line ordering rule. Now in this particular section, I will tell the system how the invoices have to be, like the lines in the invoices have to be ordered. So for example, this is a line ordering rule that is selected here. In this particular line ordering rule, the order by is this criteria. Okay, you have sequence 1, 2, 3, 4. First, invoices will be grouped or ordered in by amount. Transaction attribute is amount in descending order. Okay, the first attribute is descending order. Then it once it is ordered in that particular sequence, then you will have certain, there is a additional attribute, some interface line attribute 6 is given here, some DFF at the ascending order level. Okay, so like this you can give multiple sequences. First it will order in descending order by amount level if it has hundreds and hundreds of lines. Then you can use this optional criteria to order the lines in the invoices. So defining it is like simple, but you need to design it first uh, to define it in the system. All these attribute fields are uh, your DFFs which are available, and you can, apart from that, you have sales order line ID, and order date, depending on different criteria, unit of measure and other things. You can use it to order the lines. Then you will define the grouping rules. After defining ordering rules, you will define how the orders will be grouped together. Okay. Now, giving this name and description all is fine. You attach the ordering rule here, line ordering rule that you have created. You attach it here in this particular section. And then in the below transaction classes, you select the transaction class as invoice. For invoice, this is my grouping rule. So there are certain preceded criteria. All mandatory rules are there, like these are my mandatory rules. It will automatically group by this criteria: GL date, transaction code, and billing address, and sales order, and other things. Apart from that, I have certain optional grouping characteristics. This is your, on the basis of your DFFs and all. So whatever the attributes are there, you can specify that, and system is going to use those attributes, some of the DFFs and other attributes, to group the invoices together. And after creating this grouping rule, you create a line ordering rule, you create a grouping rule, and then you have to go and attach this to the transaction source or system options, or at multiple places you can attach it, right? Like if I go to system options, let me collapse this, a lot of menus. Any questions on line ordering rule or grouping rule? So this is the place where you will attach the grouping rule, and whatever it is that you have default, this one comes with the system, so you can attach a default rule. Someone has deleted the lines inside the default rule, that's why when we opened it there was no lines inside it, but usually default has certain lines inside it, and you can use those to create the groupings. So you can attach it at the source level, transaction type level, or transaction source level, or at the system options, or at the customer profile level, and system automatically then checks for from where it has to take it.